7-year-old Lucas Thompson had been hiking with his scout troop in the Cascade Mountains when he wandered off the marked trail to investigate what he thought was a colorful bird, becoming completely lost in dense forest where towering evergreens blocked GPS signals and thick undergrowth made navigation impossible even for experienced hikers. His scout leaders discovered his absence during a routine head count and immediately began searching, but the vast wilderness area included hundreds of possible routes where a small child could become hopelessly confused and unable to find his way back to safety. Weather forecasts predicted rain and dropping temperatures that could create hypothermia conditions, deadly for anyone caught overnight without proper shelter or warm clothing. But Duke, a bloodhound with the county sheriff's search and rescue unit, possessed the exceptional scent tracking abilities that made his breed legendary for finding missing persons across vast distances and challenging terrain. For 14 hours through the night and into the next morning, Duke followed Lucas's scent trail through 12 miles of dense forest, creek crossings, and steep mountain slopes, where his specialized tracking skills provided the only reliable method for locating one small boy in thousands of acres of wilderness that could hide a child indefinitely. Welcome to Save by Tales. Before we dive into this incredible story of natural tracking ability, meeting wilderness emergency, and a bloodhound's determination to follow a scent trail, no matter how far it led through dangerous terrain, join our community of animal hero enthusiasts who understand that some rescues require the kind of specialized skills that only certain breeds can provide when human searchers face impossible odds. The Pine Ridge Scout Troop had planned their Cascade Mountains hiking trip as an introduction to wilderness skills for 7 young boys who were earning their outdoor adventure badges under the supervision of experienced adult leaders. Lucas loves nature and exploring. His father, Mark Thompson, had told scout leader Jim Rodriguez, "He's curious about everything in the forest, but sometimes his curiosity gets ahead of his judgment about staying with the group." 7-year-old Lucas Thompson was an adventurous child who possessed natural outdoor instincts, but lacked the experience needed to navigate safely in wilderness environments where getting lost could quickly become life-threatening. Duke, a 5-year-old bloodhound with the county sheriff's search and rescue unit, specialized in missing person cases and had successfully tracked over 60 victims during his career, including several children who had become lost in wilderness areas. "Duke is exceptional even among bloodhounds," explained his handler, Deputy Sarah Martinez. "His scent detection range and tracking endurance make him our most capable asset for wilderness searches, where conventional methods face time and terrain limitations." Lucas's departure from the Mark Trail happened during a rest stop when the scout group was taking a water break, and the boys were allowed to explore the immediate area under adult supervision. "Look, pretty bird," Lucas called as he spotted what appeared to be a colorful woodpecker deeper in the forest, beginning to follow the bird away from the designated rest area. The dense forest quickly swallowed Lucas's small figure as he pursued the bird through undergrowth that blocked visibility beyond a few yards in any direction, making it impossible for scout leaders to maintain visual contact. "Lucas, come back," called scout leader Jim Rodriguez when he realized Lucas had moved beyond the safe perimeter, but the thick forest absorbed his voice before it could reach the wandering boy. By the time the scout leaders conducted a systematic search of the immediate area and confirmed Lucas was missing, he had been gone for over 30 minutes and could be anywhere within a rapidly expanding search radius. The scout leader's emergency call triggered immediate deployment of county sheriff search and rescue teams, including Duke and his handler Deputy Martinez, who understood that time was critical for successful wilderness recovery operations. "We have a 7-year-old boy missing in the Cascade Wilderness area," Deputy Martinez reported as search teams assembled. "Last seen approximately 45 minutes ago, weather conditions deteriorating with rain expected tonight." Duke's initial scent detection work began at the last known location, where Lucas had been seen with his scout group, using clothing articles to establish the tracking signature that would guide the search operation. Duke's got a strong trail heading northeast, Martinez radioed as the Bloodhound began systematic tracking that indicated Lucas had indeed left the Mark Trail system and was moving deeper into wilderness territory. The search area encompassed thousands of acres of dense forest, where a small child could become hopelessly lost, and where overnight survival would depend on finding adequate shelter from weather conditions. Duke's movement through the dense forest demonstrated the specialized capabilities that made bloodhounds exceptional tracking dogs, with scent detection abilities that remained effective even in challenging terrain and weather conditions. The Bloodhound's systematic approach followed Lucas's exact path through the forest, indicating that the boy had been moving in generally straight lines while pursuing the bird that had captured his attention. Lucas was following something that kept his interest, Martinez observed, as Duke's tracking pattern showed purposeful movement rather than the random wandering typical of lost children who had become panicked or disoriented. The scent trail led through increasingly dense forest, where visibility was limited and terrain became more challenging, with steep slopes and creek crossings that would be difficult for a small child to navigate safely. Duke's endurance and focus remained strong despite the physical demands of forest tracking, with regular rest and hydration breaks that maintained his tracking effectiveness during the extended search operation. As darkness fell over the Cascade Wilderness, Duke's tracking continued despite visibility challenges and temperature drops that created additional urgency for locating Lucas before hypothermia became a life-threatening factor. The Bloodhound's scent detection abilities were not affected by darkness, allowing the search operation to continue through the night hours when human searchers would face significant navigation and safety limitations. Duke's performance in night conditions is remarkable, Martinez reported as the tracking entered its 8th hour. His focus and determination are unwavering despite the challenging conditions and extended duration. Lucas's survival through the night would depend on finding adequate shelter and maintaining body temperature in conditions where a 7-year-old's clothing and preparation were inadequate for extended outdoor exposure. The night search covered approximately 6 miles of dense forest terrain, with Duke maintaining systematic tracking despite physical fatigue that was affecting the entire search team. Duke's tracking led to a significant creek, where the scent trail indicated Lucas had crossed the water, creating additional challenges for continued tracking on the opposite bank, where scent markers might be dispersed or weakened. Lucas crossed the creek here, Martinez determined, as Duke systematically worked both sides of the water to re-establish the trail that had been interrupted by the water crossing. The Bloodhound's methodical approach to scent recovery after water obstacles demonstrated professional-level tracking skills that human searchers couldn't duplicate without specialized equipment and training. Duke's got the trail again on the far side, Martinez radioed with relief as the Bloodhound confirmed Lucas's direction of travel beyond the creek crossing that could have ended the tracking operation. The creek crossing indicated that Lucas had been moving for several hours before reaching the water obstacle, suggesting he was now many miles from his original location and deep in wilderness territory. Duke's tracking led up steep mountain slopes where the terrain became increasingly challenging for both the Bloodhound and his handler, but where Lucas's scent trail continued to provide clear direction for the search effort. "We're following a steep ascent now," Martinez reported as Duke maintained tracking despite elevation changes and rocky terrain that made movement difficult for search teams following behind. The slope climbing demonstrated Duke's exceptional conditioning and determination, with tracking accuracy that remained consistent despite physical demands that would challenge most search dogs. Lucas's movement up the steep terrain suggested that he was still following something that maintained his interest and provided motivation for continued movement despite increasingly difficult conditions. The elevation gain also meant that Lucas was moving into territory where weather conditions would be more severe and where overnight survival became more challenging for a child without proper equipment. After 12 hours of systematic tracking through dense forest, creek crossings, and steep mountain terrain, Duke's behavior suddenly intensified as the scent trail indicated Lucas was much closer and possibly stationary. Duke's showing end-of-trail behavior, Martinez announced with excitement as the Bloodhound's pace increased and his tail began wagging despite exhaustion from the extended search operation. The scent concentration indicated that Lucas had stopped moving and was likely in the immediate area, providing hope that he had found adequate shelter and was surviving the night in the wilderness. Lucas Thompson, Martinez called as Duke led the team toward a cluster of large boulders where the scent trail showed strongest concentration. "I'm here, help me," came the weak but unmistakable voice of 7-year-old Lucas, providing confirmation that Duke's 14-hour tracking mission had successfully located the missing boy. Lucas was found conscious and responsive, but showing signs of mild hypothermia and exhaustion from his extended wilderness adventure that had covered over 12 miles of challenging mountain terrain. "Duke, you found me," Lucas exclaimed when he saw the Bloodhound who had tracked him through the night, immediately understanding that the dog was responsible for his rescue. The 7-year-old had found partial shelter among the boulders and used basic survival instincts to stay as warm as possible, but he required immediate medical attention for cold exposure and dehydration. Lucas made smart decisions about finding shelter, Martinez observed as medical personnel evaluated his condition. His survival instincts helped keep him alive until Duke could track him down. Duke remained close to Lucas throughout the initial medical treatment, providing comfort after completing what would be remembered as one of his most challenging and successful tracking operations. Lucas's reunion with his parents and scout leaders was emotional and overwhelming, with Mark and Linda Thompson expressing profound gratitude to Duke and the search team who had worked through the night to find their son. Duke saved Lucas's life, Mark said as he embraced his son. That dog tracked him for 12 miles through impossible terrain and never gave up until he found him. Lucas's medical evaluation revealed mild hypothermia and minor scratches from forest travel, but his condition was remarkably good considering his 14-hour wilderness adventure. The successful rescue demonstrated the remarkable capabilities of specialized tracking dogs, whose scent detection abilities could locate missing persons when conventional search methods faced insurmountable challenges. Duke's successful wilderness tracking became a textbook example of Bloodhound capabilities and was featured in search and rescue training programs throughout the region. Duke's performance represents the highest level of tracking expertise, explained Search and Rescue Coordinator Dr. Amanda Foster. His endurance and accuracy over 12 miles of challenging terrain saved a life when human searchers couldn't match his capabilities. The rescue highlighted the importance of specialized K9 units for wilderness search operations, where time factors and terrain challenges exceeded the capabilities of conventional search methods. Years later, Lucas remained grateful to Duke and often spoke about wilderness safety and the importance of staying with groups during outdoor adventures. Duke had proven that some rescues required the specialized tracking abilities that only certain breeds possessed when human searchers faced impossible odds in vast wilderness areas. The search also led to improved scout safety protocols and enhanced wilderness education that helped prevent similar incidents while maintaining outdoor learning opportunities for young people. I still think about that Cascade Mountain evening when a 7-year-old boy had vanished into thousands of acres of dense forest where he could have wandered indefinitely, while search teams faced impossible odds and weather conditions that threatened hypothermia for anyone caught overnight without proper shelter. If Duke had lost the scent trail at the creek crossing, if he'd lacked the endurance for a 12-mile search through challenging terrain, if he'd been anything less than a specialized tracking professional who understood that some trails are too important to abandon, Lucas Thompson would have died alone among those boulders while rescue remained forever beyond reach. Duke's story teaches us something profound about the natural abilities that certain breeds bring to our most challenging search operations, proving that some rescues require not just determination, but the kind of specialized scent detection that can follow trails invisible to every human sense across terrain that would defeat conventional search methods completely.